The Mandalorian Season 3 Episode 1. I was a bit apprehensive for this new season of The Mandalorian due to the events of what happened in the Book of Boba Fett, because I think Season 2 of The Mandalorian ended in a very effective way, and therefore I thought Season 3 could pick up and, progress in an effective way. But due to the Book of Boba Fett reuniting Mando and Grogu in a very abrupt fashion, I think it took away like a driving force for this third season. Instead, introducing like this new idea and theme and plot, the idea of taking back the planet Mandalore. The point is, I think there was a bit of a cock-up in the Book of Boba Fett, obviously, in between Season 2 and 3 of The Mandalorian. I think they did mess up a little bit there, but of course you can't judge something before you watch it, so how does the Season 3 premiere do? The premise of Season 3 is that the Mandalorian wants to attempt to go back to the planet of Mandalore so he can be allowed back into the Kree for taking his helmet off. He has Grogu with him, and he's not really being hunted anymore. Due to the Mandalorian not really having to protect Grogu from any obvious threats such as the Empire, it feels like the main plot is almost done, and now he's just sort of working on a side plot, which is trying to get, his tribe to forgive him, trying to go back to Mandalore. As a viewer, for this first episode, it doesn't really feel like we're heading in any particular direction. It doesn't feel like there is a particular path that is being followed. It just sort of feels like The Mandalorian is keeping busy. We do get a lot of action here in this first episode, and visually it's very impressive. The sets are very cool, the costumes and CG and all the aliens are really top tier as always. You would expect that, the quality side in terms of the production of this show has never been questionable. It is exemplary here, as it always has been. There are some mentions of Cara Dune here, who's conveniently gone off to join the New Republic as she was fired from the show in real life. And of course of Moff Gideon, who seems like is, in prison or being held captive, of course, after his capture. And we're getting some little plots introduced here, as I said, such as the Mandalorian wanting to be forgiven because he took his helmet off and his tribe don't agree with that. He wants to resurrect IG-11 so he can get his help in terms of going back to the planet Mandalore. And yeah, he wants to go to the planet of Mandalore. It's not super clear to me why. I think he just wants to resurrect the Mandalorian tradition and, sort of restore the power that they used to have. But as I said, all these feel a little small scale. It doesn't excite me all that much. Not as much as protecting Grogu from the constant threat of the Empire and then trying to get him to a Jedi. That felt like a really big deal. It felt like a plot you could really get behind and you really wanted him to win, whereas this, I don't really have any investment in it. Their departure from one another in Season 2 was very effective. As much as it was sad, you understood the necessity of it and why it needed to happen. Now that they're back together so soon, it feels like it was a little bit all for nothing. Or at least it was just very short-lived. I think they could have drawn that out way longer and not had to put them back together in between seasons of this show. I think they could have definitely made that the plot point of this third season. And I think this premiere highlighted that the story is not really anywhere near as strong as it used to be, and I worry that this show is going to rely on the reputation of The Mandalorian, as in the show itself, in order to carry the plot lines and the story, to make it worth watching, rather than actually telling a really exciting and interesting story and continuing it on in an effective way. However, I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. I'm not shitting on this whole thing because I love The Mandalorian. I think Season 1 and 2 are really, really great bits of just Star Wars content, up there with some of the best Star Wars content. So I hope these plot lines grow into an exciting story that just makes for a really great season overall. This episode was decent. It had some good elements. It definitely has potential, but right now I'm just not quite seeing it. But I hope it can push on from this. I would give episode 1 a 7 out of 10. If you've seen it, let me know what you think about it. Where do you think the show's at? Do you think it can be as good as it once was? Feel free to let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.